We ready to begin? Thank you for being here. Thanks for worshiping earlier and coming back and all that good stuff. Okay. I'm going to kind of MC, but you can see we have a panel here in front of you. Let me introduce everybody. Lou, everybody knows Lou?
I thought everybody was yelling, Lou, Lou.
Lou is our lay leader here at Hope. Everybody knows Nelson? Chair. Sorry. Everybody knows Andrew. He's on the building team. You know this guy, Charlie. He's our and then Kellyanne Payne. She's going to be helping us with the campaign portion of things. Get up here, Andy. Come on, there's another chair right there. You don't do enough already. Come on. Ladies, she's on 5 things. 8. That's all you need. I didn't do this one. Right. But be gentle on Kelly because she's still in the process, all right? She's here to help out. Okay. What we have done is we've created an FAQ, which I think everybody has. Attached to that are 2 illustrations of the first floor and second floor of the building that's been designed to this point. You are welcome to take this home with you and look at it, etc. On the way in, please make sure, if you haven't already done so, make sure you sign in, because we want to make sure that everybody that's here has been recorded. You also should have picked up a 3x5 card. Did you do that? Okay. So what we're going to do, each person on the panel is going to go through a section of the questions from the FAQ. They're going to ask the question and kind of answer the question, because we feel like the FAQ is probably going to answer about 90% of the questions that you probably have. So if you'll just patiently join us in that process. But the card is there in case you have a question that we didn't cover, or something that comes up in the discussion that you'd like to have asked. So rather than to do the Phil Donahue thing and run it down and everybody asks questions and all that, we want to make sure we cover as much material as we can, answer as many questions that we can. And then again, if you'll just write those questions on the cards, then we'll have you bring those up at the end, and we'll try to maybe answer some of those. But it's also a way for us to then include that in the next FAQ, right? As we move forward, so that we can continue to keep answering the questions that you might have. We'll also have some images on the screen that might be helpful, which will show you a little bit more other than the 2 illustrations that you have in front of you, all right? So, if you would join me in prayer, and we shall begin. Almighty God, thank you for this opportunity for us to gather together as the body of Christ yet again. We thank you for the opportunities to gather in worship and prayer and small group, the ways that we share our lives in so many different ways. And we ask for your Spirit to continue to be upon us and with us in this discussion as we seek to see how and where you are leading us as the body of Christ here at Hope as it relates to our facility needs. All these things we ask in Jesus' name. Okay, Lou, if you'll begin with some words about our vision and mission, and then we'll dive into those first few questions.
Okay, so just as a reminder, our vision is connecting with God, connecting with each other and our community as we become mature followers of Jesus Christ. And our mission really is to experience God and share the love of Jesus. If you've been tuning into the blog a little bit, I tried to unpack that over the last couple of months and even did a little walk around as far as the building is concerned. So I think that stuff is still up on YouTube if you want to go check that out. It's a little long by most blog standards, but that information is available for you to look at. Okay, so why are we really doing all this? What is this building project? What is it really about? And I know that everyone can read, but essentially it's been, we started really kicking this around in 2016. We did hold earlier meetings with small groups, and we had a town hall meeting even before the last one. okay, in order to get some semblance of ideas about the facility, to not only serve the needs of the congregation, but essentially to look at the needs in terms of what are we to be, what God would have us to be in this community. We also, in the meantime, have experienced some difficulties, as you all know, and again, you might see some of that in broad, with the portable buildings, which we've had since basically day one. And you might know it's been a slow process, and but we're starting to get some traction in terms of them having to be removed from our campus. So that's slow but sure. When we looked at those two things now, in the sense that we really need to get moving on this project, and so that's why we're trying to put some heat up and get it moving. We have, question number 2, we have solicited the congregation and the staff to help shape this. We really took an opportunity, and again, to look at what we need. There's a lot of wants. You can think about those things. We did hold discussions to gain some input and some initial answers, and the configuration of the building that you see is actually a reflection of those conversations. Okay, and so you'll see things that we took into consideration as we talked with staff, with Open Play, and with other members. And basically, we then got together a committee of folks to look at the building project. A lot of them have backgrounds in construction and that sort of thing. And so we continued to meet. We looked at our master plan, and then basically some designs from the past. But this is the current design that we're bringing forward. Then we had an interview process with a architect/construction organization. The selection was made last year for Mike Panetta to draw up an initial design, and that's sort of what we're basically taking a look at. It was formed based on the perceived needs of the congregation, both current and future, and the input of Open Play, the staff, the church, and leadership. And we're going to continue to employ town hall meetings as we go forward to both keep people up to date and also to continue to have some kind of input and conversation. And there'll be various ways in which we're going to communicate the progress as we go forward. This building is a part of our master plan. We have a master plan on the premises. And we took a look at that plan and then basically the placement of a new building so that when we place that building, it will not interfere with some of the projects that we have around here that we all have an investment and a love for, particularly Bethel. And so we wanted to create a campus environment that would allow us to continue to do the things that we want, but provide us with far more space. Now let me say this, if you're active in the process of Christian education on this campus, and if you're trying to get an opportunity to have a group meeting either day or night lately, it's pretty hard to do. Several groups have been very gracious and moved home. Okay, and we do know of 1 or 2 groups in that movement that have not been able to sustain their groups because there's no central place to meet. So our feeling is that, now is the time to not only solve a short-term problem, but also look into the future and solve all that. We really are going to emphasize educational space, both for Hope and Play and for adult education in the process of expansion. So that really is our basic focus in terms of this next and major movement. Later on, there's plans for fellowship halls and for a worship center and all that sort of stuff. But right now, this is the major need that we have, okay? And it's really a pressing need. Question number 4 is, what does the design of the building enable us to do? Okay, it does enable us to expand Hope and Play. Basically, that is a first floor type requirement in a new building because obviously the children and that sort of thing. So Hope and Play will consume primarily the first floor. That seems to be coming out of all the conversations that we have. In addition, we're going to have a second floor which would be primarily split between offices, a permanent place for the youth, and then additional classroom space. So if you think of the first floor, think of open play. If you think of the second floor, think of a more multi-purpose type environment, okay? It helps us to fulfill vision and mission because we basically have lost a lot of our ability to meet with each other locally, okay, for anything other than, quote, business meetings or that sort of thing. So it's tough to get new groups started and that sort of stuff. In addition to that, it's tough to invite the community in or have more social events and stuff like that when we continue to have those meetings in a very tight schedule with a lot of people trying to help to take stuff down and put it away. That's pretty hard. So the configuration is really, again, based on a broad base of input, not just for a one particular thing or to solve a single problem. It's trying to solve as many of our issues and create as many opportunities, frankly, as we can. So based on current design in number 5, the first level will be primarily used for hope and play during the week, as we have done in the past. Those rooms will be available for dual use with children's ministry programs as needed. The second story will provide office space, a youth room, 6 to 7 generic classrooms, which will be used for adult study. Part of the design process focuses on how we can expand our hope and play program by providing more space for classes in order to expand both hours, and we provide the day for preschool opportunities as well as youth and adult spaces. So hopefully we'll be able to expand our ministry into the community with a broader-based facility. Hope and Play is a revenue-generating ministry for us, and that expansion, both in the number of rooms, okay, as well as the hours expanded, should be a great help to us across the board. It's basically self-sufficient, so it provides income for the church, and after their expenses, that'll help us to write down whatever building expansion we're going to face. So it's really a very good idea for us to do that as a whole. So again, I know that you can read this stuff in detail. That's just a general introduction into how, as a church community so far, we've kind of gotten where we are and a general overview of what the building should be.
I'm next.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
6, 7, 8, 9.
6, 7, 8, 9. All right, I'm a math guy. I can figure that out. Okay, number 6. Currently, we owe $68,000 on the current building. I believe I could check with Carol. That's about 4 years, maybe enough. So about 4 years on this building. Recently, our trustees did a lot of worked very hard, and they hired an external company to assess our current and future improvement needs and repairs, and that came up to a total of $170,000. And right now, the finance committee, the trustees, the whole ad council, we're working on strategies to cover these expenses and the needs that we need on our current building. As many of you know, the building now is 20 years old. By some blessing of God, we're still operating on the same AC system, same roof, okay, and those things, as we all know as homeowners, tend to wear out over time, so we're making plans to get those things taken care of also as we look forward to building a new building. Number 7, how will the completion of the new building impact our operating budget? Well, of course, it's going to increase it. This can be expected with an increase of physical space. Our operational costs will increase, mortgage, electricity, custodial, and many others. Though an exact number cannot be determined, a generally universal estimate of 10 to 15% increase over our current costs is reasonable, which would be about $80,000 per year. How long do we anticipate for construction to be completed? It's estimated that the current design, assuming no major changes, would take 18 to 24 months to complete. I'm good at reading.
For a mathematician.
How will the construction be financed? Typically, a construction loan has to be acquired. Upon completion of the building, the church then begins to pay the mortgage and additional operating expenses. We are asking the congregation to commit to a 5-year pledge towards this project. That will provide us with some giving to be placed in reserve during the construction phase prior to the official opening of the building, as well as provided evidence to the loaning institution of our intention and capability to support this project. Our desire is to have raised or pledged 70 to 80% of the total cost. For illustrative purposes, if the total cost is $2.5 million, 80% would be $2 million. You divide that by 5 years, that would equal a pledged amount of $400,000 each year. We currently have 220 giving units or families, those who give regularly to Hope. If each giving unit or family pledged an additional $1,800 per year, approximately $150 a month, or $35 per week, we could reach that goal. Our current facility is mortgaged through the Florida United Methodist Development Fund. We will examine both what they can offer us on our new building, along with other lending institutions, to acquire the best rate and amenities available to us.
One more? That's it.
That's it.
Charlie.
Lou, do you want to start? Okay. This is question 10. While we're embarking on this financial trip for this process,
Your other 10.
The other,
He's not good.
I am going to be reading because I haven't seen this before. How will additional parking needs be addressed as the congregation grows? Some additional paid parking which are included in the construction of the new building. As a church, we're allowed to have a good percentage of our parking on natural surfaces such as grass, and will expand some parking to the north side of the new building. Now, one thing, maybe some of you know, some of you don't. This drive we have coming in today is actually belongs to the county. I think our property starts at the hedges and goes this way. So we'll be losing some of that parking out there back to pasture. So, all right, question 11, how will storage need to be met by the new building? I'm getting over a cold, so it's good. Part of the design of the new building includes some additional space for storage. Items that are currently being stored off-site in sheds will be potentially housed in the new building in their respective rooms. For example, off-site storage of staff items and records that are currently off-site due to the loss of the portables will be housed in the appropriate offices. There are rooms for additional items that may be specific to the new building, chairs, tables, carts, and etc. Question 12, is there a plan for short-term meeting space? We have had discussions about temporary buildings being provided during the construction phase, but have decided that the costs involved make these options prohibitive. Part of our strategy for interim space is to find ways to meet, such as in homes or in our community, for example, a small group meeting at a restaurant or summer location. This reduces any additional costs and also places in the traffic areas of the community, which may also serve as a way to reach out to others, in which I think some of this is already being done in a few cases. 13, has the building project been approved by the district of the UMC, United Methodist Church? They've had some discussions with the district development team and will present our plans to that committee once they have been finalized, as well as our plan to finance the project and the congregation's express ability to underwrite this project. And one other thing I'd just like to mention, this property on the side of us and back here, there are plans for approximately 1,500 homes, because that property runs all the way to 54. We don't know what the timetable is on that, but when that happens, the drive we have will become a regular street coming through here. So we need to get ahead of the curve on that project, as well as what's going on across the street north of Mitchell High School. All that's being developed by the Mitchell family up to 54 and down west on 54 some too. So that's a reason another reason we're doing this project.
So if I can put a bookmark right there, two things. The district committee, we've talked to them like Charlie said, but we need to know what we're building and how we're going to finance that before we go to the district meeting so that they can approve the project. So that's what he was explaining in that question. If you look at this picture, the light green square is what we owe. So you see how that's right at the hedges, right at the edge of the park. You see the driveway and the turn-ins that we have. That's actually Mitchell property. We don't own that piece. And Photonics Drive, which takes you to the Y, is going to come right through this intersection and right down there. So that's actually going to become Photonics to the development that we were just talking about, 12,000 homes, okay? So another reason for all of this is because we're going to be right in the middle of a lot of homes and families and things of that nature, okay? All right.
All right, I'm up next. I'm Andrew. I'm on the building committee. Question 14, who will give supervision to the construction on the building? The short answer is we're going to keep the building committee together. It's a cross-section of representatives from the church, but several have a great deal of construction experience that sit on that committee and will essentially serve as the interface with the contractor. We already talked about wanting to gather sufficient money to start. Once we reach that point and the architect draws up the plans, then we'll go out to bid, select a contractor to do the work, and it's really the contractor is responsible for completing the work, keeping it on schedule, but we will provide the oversight. At the same time, as part of the permitting, there's a whole host of inspections by the county that make sure that the building is constructed correctly, meets all the codes, etc. We'll also have the architect on board if there's any questions as the project goes on. So that's short answer to 14. 15, are we considering any improvements or changes to our current facility? Not necessarily improvement or changes, but as already discussed, 20-year-old roof, old AC. I mean, there are repairs that need to be done. Those will have to be done at the appropriate point in time, but the key is that the building is above and beyond operational requirements to maintain what we already have. I think that's the key part of the answer to this question. How will we maintain our current operational needs during the phase? We can't take from the current operational giving to fund a new building. It's above and beyond to expand the church and the services that we offer. I think that's it for me.
What will the total cost for the new, what will the total cost be for the new building? Am I wrong? How will the congregation be kept informed of the progress? We have formed a building campaign team that will be responsible for communicating our process in this project through its entirety, employing various means of communication as well. What will the total cost be for the new building? With construction, fixtures, furniture, and equipment, the total cost is estimated to be around $2.5 million. That cost is based on current construction costs and may vary slightly due to the changes in the market prices of construction materials, concrete, metal, etc. So you might be asking yourself, how can I help? I hope you're asking yourself that. First, please pray for this project, for the leadership of this endeavor, and for our entire congregation. Our primary desire is to please God in all that we are doing and remaining open to God's leading. Second, please prayerfully seek how you can financially support this effort. And lastly, please invite others into the work we are doing here at Hope, as this is an exciting time in the life of our church.
So thank you to our panel. And yes. So was the FAQ helpful? Did that answer a lot of questions for you? Do you have lots of others? You do? Did you write them on the 3x5 card? Will there be an elevator? Yes, it's required. Yes. 3x5 cards. Go ahead and write them down for us, please. Okay, the top-down view grid,
Which floor?
the one that looked, well, there's like two of them.
You talking about this one?
There you go. Right, you see where the retention pond is? And then the building here is where we are right now. So this is the new building we're talking about. Okay? And you see the additional parking on this side. And then you've got the pavilion, and then the two portables will be gone. Part of the master plan that we've been looking at and that we designed was that where the portables are, which are right out here, this will become kind of a courtyard. So the sanctuary, the future build will be in the front, facing this way. All right, so it'll be right out here. And then this area where the memorial garden, et cetera, is, would be more kind of a courtyard. So you crisscross to the courtyard with the sanctuary. But that's the third phase. Yeah. Any other questions? Oh, yeah. To build, 18 to 24 months. How long before it starts? Part of what we're seeking to do is get the input from the congregation again, that this is what we want to do moving forward, that it helps us meet our vision and mission. As you exit today, you can take a five-year pledge card with you, so you can begin thinking about that. And then based on the kind of giving that the church expects to give, that will determine kind of when we start. It may also determine what we build. But the reality is that upstairs that you have in the FAQ with you, we have to have that. We have to have the meeting space, the office space, things of that nature. Originally, what had happened was we decided to build the building, and we began to look at needs. So we looked at the bottom floor for expanding Hook and Play as well as the facilities. Then the discussion was, should we go 2 stories? And part of that discussion was, well, we could build the second story and leave it unfinished, and then finish it later. And then the more that we had conversations with the town halls, et cetera, we realized, no, we really need to build the whole thing. So the hope and the dream is to build this entire building. But we're also practical enough to realize that may not be something that we're capable of, okay? So we're kind of being flexible in that regard. The absolute date, I would say by the end of June. Yes. And again, those of you who are here, we know that you're here, so we presume you picked up a card. Darn it. So we've already got you. For the folks that aren't here, we'll know who those folks are. We'll send a mailer and ask for their input and their flows as well.
How are the outbuildings going to be handled? How do we dispense with those if and when they'll be dispensed?
The portables,
Or
they're in the process of being taken down. Yep. They've been slow getting it done, but this week they came out and divided the youth portable, because each one is a double wide, and they got the tires on them and pulled them. This one's already been divided and wrapped, and looks like they're making some progress and stuff running. So hopefully in a week or two, I don't want to jinx it.
there is an additional cost to that, or is it part of our operating costs?
Part of our operating costs. And we do that. Yeah. And again, that $170,000 that you heard was from that assessment, which is based on these big ticket items like the roof and the air conditioning, which is ongoing costs, carpeting in here, new chairs, things of that nature. So we're looking to do that in our normal operating budget. That's not part of this building project.
The one picture that you had that shows the supposedly new building there, that one.
That one, Yes, this is our current parking here,
Yeah,
and then the turn in,
yeah,
and then this lighter green is currently where we park on the grass already.
right, because.
There's a few more spaces in front and a few more paved on the side.
How many parking places are in the plan, do we know? I mean, you've got over 220 families now.
Right.
And tenants. If you're gonna have this huge development of these other homes, our congregation could explode. And the parking is one thing that I think needs to just be, thought of.
Correct.
And maybe it has, I don't know, but.
They've considered that, but again, that's one of the things I think Lou answered, which was as a church, we're not like most other organizations where we have a requirement of paved parking. We have to have a certain percentage that's paved, but it's a lot more flexible with a church that you can park on the grass. So in reality, back here where the playground is, you can come around and park in that area too. So that'll be utilized for parking as well in the foreseeable future. All right, do we have some questions on the cars? Okay, I'm gonna go to the cars.
The things that you're asking are for families. What about where you have one individual as a member, there's no family?
Yeah,
Like elderly, senior citizens that are retiring.
Correct. The 220 giving units are made up of individuals and families. Those are the 220 giving units that give on a regular basis. Some will give more, some will give less, but we were trying to show an average of what that would look like. Yeah, we realize that. Yep, but
No, I'm glad you brought that up. To me, this was an arithmetic exercise to try to tell what this could be. But it's a spiritual thing between us as brothers and sisters. It's not equal giving, you know what I mean? It's equal sacrifice. The sense is that it's like a pledge. It's whatever you put on there is between you and God, right? But it's partially also an issue as to whether or not you're sort of in. If you see the vision, if you understand where we are and where we want to go, we know that this community is generous. Okay, the issue for us is to try to lay out a plan that shows what, based on the numbers that we have, what it could be. But we know that there are people that are ready to give way more. Okay, and we know that there are folks who you're at a place where you can only give a bit, but it has to be both in. And that's really important. We don't want to kid about that. We have to maintain and develop where we are and then reach forward with God's help, okay, for this new project. So we want to make sure everybody understands clearly that's where we stand. Okay, because if we go, like Kelly had said before, if we go back and forth, and we get it, we're tired now and stuff like that, so our expectation is that you and the Holy Spirit and the conversation with the Lord are going to tell you what it is, but we wanted to try to give a roadmap to see what it looks like.
let's give those some love. What will our current rooms in this building be used for? We will continue to use them as we do for children's ministries, and that's part of, or could be part of, that Hope and Play expansion. So not only do we continue doing what we're doing now with Hope and Play, but if we have the additional building, we could expand as far as the number of classrooms. We've also talked about expanding the hours. Currently, it's basically 10 to 2, basically 5 days a week. So we've talked about before school, after school, all day, things of that nature. So you can imagine the abilities that could create for us to reach the needs of the congregation, or in the community. Will Hope and Play remain in the current building? Most likely, yes. Otherwise, those rooms would just sit empty all week, most of the week. What will the current Hope and Play classroom what? Will there be bathrooms and or sinks in every Hope and Play classroom? That's the plan. That's the plan for the new building, yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think we talked about that as part of the the discussions with the architect. Yeah, we had that discussion, huh? Yeah, the nursery will stay here, correct? Well, can we have an office? God, I hope so. See that big, see number 5? Because I have to have room for Nerf floor and ping pong. Number 7 is,
Don't pretend like you're not going to hang out in there all the time.
that's true. I won't be in the office, but we'll have. Open play office, I believe, is in the bottom floor. Yeah, I think, like where number 8 is, or 3, I think it is. Is that right, or maybe 6? 6, sorry, I can't see this. And that's the other thing, is this all has line of sight. So if you're standing at one end of the hallway, you can see all the way down to the other end of the building. Okay? And that will also be
As soon as he
locked.
gets an office, I can eat.
So for example, if you came in for an afternoon class, you could go straight into the stairwell or straight into the elevator or straight to the second floor, right? You wouldn't have to go onto the first floor also. You keep that secure. That's also why line of sight is the way it is, so that you can see what's going on, those sorts of things. Youth room conducive for high school, middle school meeting, for Sunday school at the same time. Most likely. That's a pretty big room.
Also, the classrooms too.
Huh?
There's classrooms too. Plenty of space.
Okay, these are similar. Here, immediate need for office and classroom space. Yes. Does it make sense to convert the covered patio? No. We did look at that, and we also looked at building something similar that was all closed in. Yeah, the air conditioning and the electricity and things of that nature, just for a short-term period, doesn't make that really cost-effective. So. But we do have offices for all the staff, basically, except for me. Just kind of
And Conrad. Conrad has a cave.
What plans are being made to increase those who do not give? Nelson? We're going to show everybody Nelson's knee replacement. We're going to say, we would like one similar. No. That's part of this campaign too. That's
Give him a mic. Give him a mic. Please give him a take. Yes, please give him a mic.
So how can you help? Because that question is something the committee would like to ask y'all. Okay, how, if you hear us, and if you're with us, then we need as much conversation from you with brothers and sisters here to basically get people going this way. There are people who come here all the time, quite honestly, and give as much as they can, which may be less than somebody else's. But the point is, okay, we're free to do this with joy. Okay, this is an opportunity for us. I've been going here since 2005. Okay, this is an opportunity for us to make the presence of our ministry larger in this area. We're never going to be as big as some churches here, and that's not the plan. But it is the plan that we do it as a family, right? And so if you see and are part of what we're doing, I'm sorry, you can take the kid out of Camden, but you can't take the Camden out of Camden. Okay, so that's a question I think we all have to ask one another. Okay, how am I going to participate? One of the ways I'm going to participate is, I understand the questions, they're really good, and we want to help in thinking this through. But the questions are also, am I going to be willing to talk to my neighbor about how are you liking this? How are you participating in this? How are you going to be part of this program and get involved and get excited about who we are on the move. So part of it comes from y'all, if you know what I mean.
And the enthusiasm that comes with it. This is us. Will the new building be green, solar panels, et cetera? We have had discussions about that. That would be part of the construction phase. Will the playground be enlarged and updated? Most likely. It's going to have to be moved at least some. And you can see the by the drawing. It looks like it's a little bit bigger than what we had before. So yes, that is anticipated as part of that. What will the new youth area consist of?
What?
Is it gonna be like a basketball court, or, I mean, what is?
No.
Is it
No.
gonna be like
No.
what is, are they providing?
Just a room.
Big room?
It's just a room, but we might put pool tables and that kind of stuff in there like we're in.
That's all.
Because I gotta have something to do.
None if I have
We work one day a week, right? So I challenge any of you. Any other cards or questions? Do y'all want to answer someone? Go ahead.
Yeah, here's
This is the
one.
new FAQ.
This is a person that pays weekly online, and they want to know how would I pay to the building fund online and keep that separate from my regular giving. Typically, and I consulted with Carol here, I know when I pay my bills online with Bank of America, there actually is a memo line on there that you can put specifically where it goes to. And we would definitely encourage you to pay online and set that up to go out every month or bi-monthly or weekly, however you'd like to do that. And then in that memo line, that's where you can indicate what part would go to the general fund or the new building fund. I think we have a building fund. Right. Yeah, so if you say, yeah, so we need you to put on a check, on your envelope, online, the amount of money you'd like to go to the new building. The new building. Correct, Carol? That's where I get all my best information from, is Carol. Just one good question for me, Andrew, sorry.
All right, I think I win because I got a whole stack here. First one, will there be a porch shade? I think this is a trick question to see if I know what a porch shade is. And I do. It's a covered entryway and then drive up to get out. Currently, the plan does not have a porch shade. So that's the short answer. Could it? Like with all things, there's all kinds of things you could add to this, and then, that budget we just talked about, so it's all about priorities, but currently it does not have a porch. Why are the bathrooms separated? I don't understand.
That was my question. So you have two bathrooms, why do you not just make one for women and one for men instead of different, separated in the plans? So it looks like you have one bathroom and then another each.
Like we have here.
Yeah, why do we do that here? Why are we gonna do that?
Usually for handicap access, with a single bathroom.
So you can't just make a handicap accessible bathroom with one stall? I'm just curious.
You can.
You can, I don't know what ADA requirement, it may be an ADA requirement that's driving this kind of facility. I mean, that's an architect drew it up that way. It's how it is here, you see that all over, so.
How many bathrooms that are gonna fit in the one or the other one? Because I know like with the number of children we have, if there's gonna be one bathroom per classroom or a Jacksonville bathroom for one, there's a requirement for the number of sinks or the number of bathrooms and sinks for the number of people, so. I think it's part of
I'm sure there is. Again, this is the general layout, but the architect is required to meet all those requirements. He's the smart guy, that's why I hire an architect. So, at the end of the day, I mean, things may change. We'll have to appropriate, he knows it's what the use is.
Let's be clear, this is a rough sketch, not plans.
It is a rough sketch. It was his initial, we said, hey, this is out what we want, here's what we want to do, and you say, here's a concept drawing, and that's what you're looking at. And it did not include a floor shape. What about a bathroom in the classroom for 2-year-olds? I think we talked about that. Will interior walls be movable to have expandable spaces for multi-use? I don't know that that's in the plan right now. I mean, some of these spaces are pretty big. But again, when it comes to the final architectural design, I mean, those are discussions that we would have with the architect.
We did have conversations
We talked
about that.
it.
Yeah. If you'll show the top floor, please, Brett, you'll see those divisions between the ones across the top of the picture. Those could be expandable walls, or walls that retract. Those are very expensive, those systems, and they're also not soundproof.
And they break easy.
And they do kind of break easy. So, you know, you'd have more use, but then it creates other problems and issues.
So I think it's something to think about. I administrated 2 large churches that have variable building structures like that indoors. And this isn't built out, right? This is a rendering that shows what functions would go in what place. Like, we can't answer what the color of the desks are going to be or what the rug's going to look like. Okay, however, in the one place it was done very well because it was a low-tech kind of push-me-pull-you thing. Another was a fairly higher-tech type thing. It was a nightmare because they broke all the time and they had little doorways in them and stuff like that. So it's something that we should really think and talk about some more, but they do come long-term with a kind of liability. So just keeping that in mind. It's a balance.
Okay, will there be a full kitchen in the new building? No. There's not one right now. Will this hinder doing Bethlehem? Well, I think the answer has to be no. I mean, it's built here on the parking lot. I don't know where we put our certain team. We have to change some things, but obviously Bethlehem's a big part of the church. And whatever we do has to still support Bethlehem. Like a 3-question card.
Will or can the second floor classrooms open up to
No.
larger spaces?
Okay, we already discussed that one. I think I already answered that one. Will youth spaces be available for other events?
What?
I think the answer is yes, of course. What about storage closets on second floor? There is storage in the building, but it's storage for the building. It's not like big storage for Bethlehem stuff. I mean, it's the required storage for chairs and tables and supplies and such things is planned into the building, but it's not huge storage to replace our buildings out there. Was there an investigation into grants potentially available? Okay, I don't know that's. Okay, but I think the second one, who are on the teams? The construction team, the communication team, can these be published? I don't know why not. There's obviously way more on the construction team than me. And I'm going to pass the grant on.
To my knowledge, I don't think we've investigated anything with the grants, have we? So that would be a no, or maybe it's something we could look at.
Have we considered additional fundraiser activities to help with the cost? Not specifically, but yes. But yes, but we don't have anything specific like that directed exclusively to the upkill. At least not that I'm aware of. Do you have any plans for working with Trinity College outreach with their students? Not as of yet. Does anybody have a specific contact with Trinity College that I could reach out to? Anyone? If not, I'll find out.
Well, I'll get with you afterwards. I'll like pull out that in there that I'll ask about.
Okay, thank you. Is there additional income expected from the expanded Hope and Play factored into the operating budget?
Well, there's expected increase in income, but we haven't factored into the budget yet. As we build our, when we build our budgets, we'll start in August, July and August. That's when we look at that, so, definitely in the future, we would look at that. We could easily project for the number of classrooms and the number of students we can have. Of course, we've already done a little work on that.
I mean, the idea would be if you have to get close to the actual realization of the revenue. You can, yeah.
Right now, it's
On the one
purely
hand,
speculative.
yes. And on the other hand is, as we see realistically how our timing and our growth go, then we'll have to project it at some point, when we back budget for that appropriate period of time. But it's our expectation really that there will be obviously improvement in revenue based on being able to offer better program all day long and just the volume increase in the number of students. But exactly what that is.
Roughly, by adding this new building, we could triple the current size of Hope and Play. So if we maintain what we're doing, and we have the new building, we could have 2 times as many students as we currently have. Does that make sense? So the kind of revenue that currently brings could be times 3, okay, with the expansion. And that's just using the current hours that we have, not including an expansion in the day, things of that nature. So again, what Lou and everybody's saying is that that's speculative, but yes, there's a potential there for income that helps offset what we're talking about.
Carol? Currently, it brings in about $30,000 a year net. Yeah.
That's after.
It's responsibility.
And then I have a couple more questions. What part of the upcoming year's Night for Hope can go toward the new building? And I'll read the second one with it. What other fundraising events can be done to go toward the new building? As far as this year's Night of Hope, how much can go toward the new building? I'll defer to Nancy on that. And Carol. That goes to general operating expenses.
The Night for
We
Hope
will
is
probably
strategy
have-
office with our current operating. Yep.
I imagine there would be very specific events dedicated to the new building. That's what's happening in my mind. Anyway. And I promise to keep you all posted on what those events will be.
Just one more thing.
Lou? Nelson?
Okay, all the questions so far about fundraisers are talking about current operations. Okay, Hope and Play, Night for Hope. Okay,
Compassion Night for Hope.
no, we have to keep our current operation intact and really look at above and beyond. Not that we wouldn't leverage opportunities where we can, But again, we can't stop primarily doing what we're doing now and just direct it all at another program. So keep it in mind.
Tim?
If I had an idea for a fundraiser, would I present that to you?
You bring that to the finance committee, which is me and a bunch of other great people.
I know those of us who don't attend the town hall meetings don't really know what's going on here. Would it be possible to post in the bulletin the figures that Nelson gave, if everyone gave this amount and $1,800 a year? This is, I think that's a good way that everyone to see it. Maybe it'll wake up some people that don't contribute and
That's part of how we communicate. Yep. We're also filming the meeting today, so that'll go on our YouTube for folks who couldn't be here. And help me put the word out. All right, Bill?
Size of the new building, square footage wise,
10,000 square feet.
so it's 55 downside up.
Correct. Yep. Good question. All right.
You have a question?
What's your name? We have a new member here. Would you like to be on the finance committee?
Thank you for being here.
No, not the team's committee. That is. Yeah, that's one of them.
Will the congregation have an ability to help with painting, landscaping, that sort of thing, to reduce some of the costs as we get closer to actually opening the building? Chances are probably not, simply because that's part of the construction cost and making sure that, yeah, some of that. Some of that. Maybe not
Keep the
that.
building after it's all done.
Yeah, sure. That's really, yeah. Okay. Thank you for being here. All right, one more question.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
We'll see you then.
How, right now, how